Wrestling!
Wrestling!
3, 2, 1. Wrestling! Hello everyone, welcome to the wrestling section of Cheap Shot Culture, and with myself, Phil Taylor, and Mr. Ricks, young Bob. How are we?
Alright, mate, how are you?
Tired. A bit too early in the morning to be doing this, but it is what it is. Never mind.
Some of us have to go to work today.
I know. And United's on, so that makes sense. Before we go any further, as you can see on the mug, Elite Wrestling Community, check them out, and also the Heel Project, who hasn't sent me a mug, and I'd like them to, even if they don't have one. I want a Heel Project mug. Okay.
I think I want a mug though. I don't drink hot drinks, but I kind of want a mug.
You don't drink many hot drinks, do you?
No.
Cool. Before we go any further, can we just say how cool was it that Edge liked your tweet of Freddie?
Oh, mate.
Bless you. You've been trying hard. You eventually got laughing.
I don't know how much more merch I needed to buy before I got him to recognise me. I've currently got in front of me this, and I don't know if my background will allow it.
I can't really see it. No.
No. So it's the Royal Rumble plaque from 2020 for when he returned.
Yeah, you was there, weren't you?
I was there. What a feeling it was to see him return and come out and stuff. So I've got that. You can see I've got his t-shirt on. I've got every t-shirt since he's returned, and I took a picture of my son with a teddy for him to actually like me to eat. I was so happy.
And it's probably not even Freddie's teddy. It's probably yours.
It was mine, but I knew that if I get the picture of him, that he would like it.
I think it's only fair that teddy stays with Freddie now. Just saying.
Well, to be fair, I do have a Fiend teddy. So the Edge one just goes with the Fiend one. So that's why I got it. Finally got me like.
Cool. To say it's not for the one to try. I've noticed. Sound. So wrestling, where we're starting. I think this week there's been quite a few contentious things that's come out of wrestling this week.
I think for me the main one was the AEW Blood and Guts. There was the cage match with Jericho getting pushed off at the end. For me, that's probably the biggest talking point this week in wrestling.
We'll go there first.
So again, if people don't know, I've not seen it. Jericho got pushed off the top of a steel cage by MJF, I think it is. I'm not a massive AEW fan. I've seen it all over the internet.
Isn't that a bit of wood?
No, MJF. MJF, come on. No. So he got pushed off it anyway, and upon his landing, you could see crash mats, and it looked like cardboard that looked to make it look like steel. And I know a lot of people, it's been a massive talking point in the world of wrestling. So have you seen it, or what's your thoughts on it?
I've seen the fallout from it. I'm not making that big a deal about it. I think we've seen Shane McMahon take bumps.
Yeah.
It's quite clear what he's landed on. Might have been concealed a little bit better, but it's obvious what he's jumped on. What are they going to do? They can't. Wrestling's just not like that anymore. They can't be landing on concrete and.
No, I think
big sticks, for me, you know what I mean. It just doesn't happen now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think for me, you look back at an older AEW pay-per-view with Matt Hardy landed, banged his head on the concrete, and there was a big deal about that. And then again, Sammy Guevara hitting was it Matt Hardy again with a steel chain and blood coming out of his head, and there was a big deal about that.
Yeah.
And like you said, we've seen Shane McMahon jump off the top of a Hell in a Cell, and he's landed on the announce table. You can clearly, at some angle, see there's some pads underneath it.
There's loads of examples where you can see that it just looks a bit shoddy and put together, but it might just be a learning curve for AEW. They might just continue to do the same or similar thing. They might look better next time. It's just that they're new, aren't they? Let's give them that. They're still new.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it. Bubba Ray did on a podcast or some form of interview about it, and he brought up the El Rikishi getting pushed off the cage, and the way he said was, and what we're not trying to say is Chris Jericho should have took a bump on some concrete. Of course he shouldn't have. He's an older gentleman. He's going to be sore even worse. Yeah. But what he said was, if you watch that angle, he shot it from below, so you've seen him fall, shot it from afar to see how far he fell. You never see exactly what he's landed on. Sure. And it is all about camera angles, and I think, like you say, it'll only get better.
It will. But the AEW fans will love it. The WWE fans will hate it. It just seems to be there's more war between the fans than there is between the actual promotions.
Yeah.
And I think it's a bit silly. I know personally from our own group, Elite Wrestling Community, there's been loads of just silly little arguments, and it's like, grow up. There is literally more war, more arguments, more fighting between the fans than there is between the two companies. It's just stupid. Enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, exactly. It's something different that people can go and watch. It's putting stars that people have already seen in Japan or online, more in the limelight. In terms of making stars or bringing people in, someone did debut on AEW this week. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, and I know we've seen it happen in WWE. So is it Anthony Ogogo, the boxer, the former UK boxer? He debuted a UK flag over Cody Rhodes. What's your thoughts on stars coming from different backgrounds? So, i.e., being a professional boxer, we've seen it with Ronda Rousey being a professional UFC MMA fighter, moving into professional wrestling. What's your thoughts on that?
All I'll say is that if you look at Bad Bunny, completely different industry he's come from. The one thing he did was respect, and he worked. That's all you have to ask for. Doesn't matter to me where they come from, whether they're boxers, football players, American football players, makes no difference. As long as they come in and they respect what they do, what the business is, and they work hard, that's all anybody can ask for, I think. Which I think...
Yeah, 100%.
Which I think would lead us nicely into Eva Marie's return.
Yeah.
I think that the thought there is that she's had more than enough chance to show that she cares, that she's bothered, that she respects the business. And there's a lot of people not happy that she's like, is this a third try now? A third attempt at...
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you think?
So I know there's a lot of talk around why release the likes of Samoa Joe and Billy Kay and Peyton Royce and stuff to just have Eva Marie turn up the couple of weeks after. My belief is that Eva Marie has been with this company for a lot longer than people think. I know there was a few rumours. I would say like a month or two ago about the return. I think it was Angel Garza was giving people roses.
Yeah.
He thought that's who the person was. You know what? It's a talking point. She brings some form of business to the company. People might not be talking about Raw and one of them, because I don't think Raw's probably up to the standard that it should be. But the minute you see her face on TV, massive talking point, and it gets people talking. So again, any publicity is good publicity, really, and it's got people talking.
Let's just hope that she makes this time the one, and it comes for something. it worked for the Bellas. You know, they came from completely different background, but they similar kind of like models and all that kind of thing that Eva Marie does.
Yeah.
But they came in and they respected and they worked hard and they deserved where they got. And I think she kind of, I think with Eva Marie, the preconception is that she wanted it handed into her because, well, I don't know, for whatever reason. But that's just not the case. That's just not how it works. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think you've seen it with the Bella twins, like you said. You've seen it with Maurice, you know, coming through the Diva search,
Yeah.
and yeah, they've made something of themselves. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do with it. Will they team it up with someone to give her a voice so she doesn't have to cut promos? Has she been away? Has she been learning it? We don't know. She could have been training in the performance centre for the past year. We have no idea.
No. And I like that there's still enough going on within the wrestling world that we don't always get to know about. I like that there's still some things that are kept sort of like secret and hidden from the fans. You don't want to know everything because it just ruins it. It's hard enough as it is this day and age. Pretty much everything is leaked. You get to know it more. Sometimes even the wrestlers do. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I know you mentioned Raw. Not doing too great at the moment, is it?
No, I think when you compare it to the other products that are out there, NXT and even SmackDown itself, it's not doing the best, I don't think. And I'd love to know what it is. I do think it needs a good shake up. I think we had this conversation.
Yeah. What do you think? Because Raw's always been. It's always been the big show. It's the number one product in wrestling, and at the moment, to say that SmackDown's better than it by quite a way is something that doesn't really get said all that often through the years. So what do you reckon?
I think we had this conversation, which was you look at the roster from either side, and no disrespect to Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre, because you know Drew McIntyre carried a company or Raw through the pandemic era, as people are calling it now. So you know, massive respect to the guys for doing what they're doing at the moment. But you flip over to SmackDown and you've got Roman Reigns, who's on the run of his life. You've got Seth Rollins, you've got the two top guys in the business, and I don't care what anyone else thinks, they are the two top guys in the company on one brand. You've got, you know, people that instantly interested in Daniel Bryan, instantly interested in Edge when he returned, Cesaro, Big E. Everything seems to be over on the SmackDown side, and yeah, Raw's got, you know, Raw should be great. It's got, you know, the New Day as a tag team, AJ Styles, Orton, and you would think that should be able to carry it, but there's something there that's just not working out for them. Whether it's the storylines, whether it just needs to shake up with the champions, I don't know.
So do you think? Obviously, Daniel Bryan's technically banished from SmackDown now, but he is out of contract, or so the rumor is. I don't know whether it's true. If it's true, then it is what it is. But do you think he'll end up back on Raw, or do you think he's done in general with WWE together?
I think if he has definitely left, I can't see him signing anywhere else, and I could potentially see him retired. Most people do go on the back, as the old saying would go, and when they retire, that's it. They lose and they never go out on a win. Yeah. And he's the type of person I can imagine respecting that in the business. Yeah. You know, 2 kids. Does he want to risk it again? I don't know. Will really tempt him back over to Raw, but even then, I can't see what he would do at the moment while he's over there. I just can't see it.
We'll have to see then, won't we? See what happens.
Yeah. in terms of Monday Night Raw and what people are discussing at the moment, Charlotte, obviously now into the triple threat for the title. What's your thoughts on? And I'm not even going to say what's your thoughts on her being interjected into this main event, this title match. What's your thoughts on her in general and her company run?
She's the best. She's by far and away the best female talent overall package in WWE. Natalya for me is the best wrestler. I'm always going to say that because I'm just.
You are always going to say that.
She just is, and I think it's sad sometimes for me that she is Ric Flair's daughter because she's always going to get that, and I don't think she deserves that. I think she's, again, was never interested in the business. But she's come in, she's worked hard, she's respected it, she's got her head down. I'm sure there's been times where she's been given opportunities. But I don't see that recently. No, I just think it's because she is just that good. And you don't really see her have a bad match.
Do you think that she would have been given the opportunity she has done if her dad wasn't Ric Flair?
Yeah, I think she's good enough on her own to have walked into that company at any time she wanted and done what she's done. I do, yeah, I do.
Because,
my opinion,
for me, and I think we've had this conversation about your favourite Natalya as well. I get it. You know, they're both fantastic at what they do. And I've got no problems in terms of her getting these title shots. I just hope to God that she doesn't win it, because I think it would just take away from Rhea Ripley's win at WrestleMania. But for me, both of them are always going to get branded with that, when their whole wrestling gimmick and moves and finishes are all like the relatives. You know, Natalya, still to this day, I just can't get my head around it. You know, she wants to not be. I think it was at WrestleMania that Michael Cole said it. They don't want to be tarnished with they don't want to be recognised for their name anymore. Yet the next 3 moves they did were all moves from the Hart family or the Snookers. You know, Charlotte comes out with the robe and the wooing and the figure. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's that I see both sides of the argument. I do, but I just think I think to sort of like Noelle Foley and Mick, she got her opportunity because of Mick, but she quite clearly wasn't good enough. So they've not just gone, right, well, she's Mick Foley's daughter, we'll just get her in anyway. And I think that's the difference. I think it was quite clear that Charlotte was good enough. I genuinely think that if she wasn't, then regardless of who her dad was, she wouldn't have been there.
But then the flip side to that is, and obviously we don't know too much about her because she's not been on TV, she's just currently training. But outside of, you know, when you look at the women that come through into the performance center in NXT and so on, they've all had that indie experience now. It's very rare you're seeing anyone coming from any other background or an MMA background and stuff. But then you got the Rock's daughter that just comes out of nowhere, or she signed. Is that, again, it's for me, it's that feeling of, again, she could be the best wrestler in the world. I wouldn't know. We've not seen her. But is she just in the performance center because her dad's The Rock and they're not going to really annoy him?
It's going to be that element is always going to be there, and it's going to be there when Trips and Stephanie's daughter decide that they want to wrestle, because that's bound to happen. But if they're not good enough, they're not good enough, and they won't be in.
If the Rock's daughter showed up on NXT next week and come out and got to smell in the air and won the title from over her shoulder like that, if she ended up doing that and hitting a rock bottom to finish the match off, it just wouldn't work, would it? It just would not work. I just think And that's my problem with the likes of Natalia and Charlotte. Amazing wrestlers, but just stop going from what your dad or your uncle did, or you look back at some of the second generation, third generation superstars that have been there. Randy Orton doesn't come out with a cowboy hat on like his dad did.
No. And if
you know what I mean?
Sort of like look at The Rock's, he's third generation, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think they initially wanted him to be like his dad, like his granddad, and he said no, that's not what he wanted. So maybe she'll do the same.
You look at the Usos, and we'll get onto the Usos in a minute because something happened on SmackDown. Yeah. But when they joined, they had the face paints and the dancing and stuff like that. Yeah, in there they got titles. They got them titles and stuff. But how much better did they get when they dropped all of that and away from that? There's potential there for the likes of Natalia for me. But if she just went away and did her own thing, new music, new gear, it would work. It just doesn't work for me.
I think Natalia's a bit too far gone now. I think she's too late for her now to reinvent herself, I think.
Yeah.
Especially if you go off for like what they've done with Mickey James. The females seem to have an expiry date at the moment, which is wrong.
Yeah.
So we'll see. You mentioned the Usos.
Yeah.
There was one of them returned. Have you remembered which one it is yet?
No. Honestly, don't know how to tell them apart.
Naomi goes.
Yeah. Honestly, I can't work it out. They are identical. There's no two ways about it. I think off the top of my head, I want to say it might be Jimmy Uso that returned.
Google it.
Yeah, and I think it's probably best. But I think for me, with the Usos, I think they're absolutely amazing. Loved when we talked about reinventing themselves. They did it fantastically. Great work as both heel and face. Glad that they're both back together now. It's just going to be interesting to see what happens because I don't know if you've seen it. But after the it was a Jimmy Uso that returned. Amazing.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns was trying to get him to join him, acknowledge him, as he says now, and Cesaro come out and attacked both Jay and Roman Reigns, and Jimmy didn't really want to get involved and then did, but only did when he was attacking his brother. So it's going to be really interesting to see, is this going to be the start of the fallout between the three of them? Are they all going to join and become one big force? It'd be really interesting.
I still think there's the storyline of the head of the table and all that. I think there's still a long way to run with that. And I think it needs to end at Mania next year, or whether it be in LA with Reigns and The Rock. That's, for me, when it has to end, I think.
Does Reigns go over?
Yeah, he has to. Yeah. I don't think anybody, not even me, as one of the big Rock fans, I don't think anybody wants to see a 50-year-old Rock champion. In the same way, nobody really wanted to see Goldberg at 53 or whatever he was. But yeah, I think for me that's where it still needs to go. There's still loads of life left in that story, I think. And that's why Cesaro's not winning at WrestleMania Backlash, even though it's cool that finally he's in a title match. It's just so good, and he's always been so good.
Yeah, I think he could have easily jumped ship and jumped off somewhere else when his contract expired. It's only commending to him that he's stuck around and he's finally got his chance, and rightfully so after the performance at Mania. I don't think he's going to win. I think Seth Rollins is going to have a hand in it somewhere. But yeah, I'm so happy for him. Deservedly so. But like you say,
to be in the mix, I think now is exactly where he needs to be. He's just.
So then again, you could potentially see him. Could he then, have a title match at WrestleMania Backlash, and then move on to WrestleMania Extreme Rules to face maybe like over on Raw, and actually get the title on Raw and go that way, and then they can move on to, I don't know, let's think WrestleMania, Hell in a Cell, WrestleMania, Great Balls of Fire, maybe somewhere on the line they'll fight and he will get his title.
It's stupid, isn't it? It's stupid. What was I going to say then? I think he'll win at WrestleMania Backlash, but he'll be by DQ or something like that.
Yeah.
He won't go clean, and I don't think he will. I still don't think they'll put the title on him. But I'd love to see him like the IC belt or even the US again, and just give that a big run, like Cena did with the US. Just make it.
Yeah.
Again, do you know what I mean?
Well, very quickly on the subject of Cena, again, Instagram the picture of the WWE logo. Does he come back? Do you want to see him win the title? Does he take over from Ric Flair? What do you think?
No, the only one I want to see take over from Flair is Randy Orton.
Yeah.
But I'm not certain it'll ever be broken. I don't know. I don't know.
I think Ric Flair would want it to be broken. But I just think Ric Flair was that good. Will it be Cena? Will it be Orton? I don't know.
Yeah. I just think he's got that much respect within the wrestling business that everybody knows that he was the best, the greatest champion of all time.
Yeah.
And nobody will ever want that 16 to go to 17. I don't see it. No.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, I can see Orton getting to 16. And that's what they might do. They might just have the best, who they consider the best wrestlers on 16 for various different reasons, whatever they choose. But I don't see it getting beaten, and I certainly don't see Cena beating it either. Not now.
It'd be really interesting. I'd like to see him come back, maybe have like one more match and go that way. But it'd be interesting to see what happens with Cena, and he's doing well for himself, I think.
Cool.
Very quickly, and I think just before we wrap up, I can't believe that we've talked about Raw and not actually spoke about it very quickly. And you've just mentioned Orton, RK Bro. But what's your thoughts? Did he go on and win the title? Did he become a proper tag team?
RK Bro have to. RK Bro should win everything. He's so cool, Riddle.
Yeah.
Doesn't care.
No, there's not. And they fit perfectly because there's times that Orton just doesn't care.
No. And then eventually he'll just turn and he'll just RKO him out of nowhere. And then and it'll be done. And they'll be like, yeah, that was cool. Next.
Yeah,
enjoy it for what it is. Enjoy it at the moment. He's cool. I think it works. Maybe, I don't know. It's one of the highlights of Raw at the moment, and perhaps they should have done it a little bit earlier. But, of course, he had the Fiend stuff, didn't he? So it probably wasn't the right time. So, yeah, enjoy it. It would be good, but it'd be short-lived.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Cool. Obviously, there's little bits about NXT and our fellow Englishman, Peter Dunne. Going after it looks like, well, he was one of the 3 people attacking Killing Cross on NXT. I'd love him to see him win a title like that. I'd so love it to happen.
Do you know what I'll tell you, I don't think I've said this to you, but my sort of like favourite NXT star at the moment is Dexter Lumis.
Okay.
I just think he's just weird, and I like that about him. And I think he's a good wrestler, but his gimmick is just weird. He looks weird. He's got Taker vibes where he comes across really sinister, and I think that's what I like. And I think he should go up. I think he would be ready. Well, it's not going up now, is it? It's going across.
Going across, yeah.
Going across.
Or if you're going to Raw, going down.
Well, at the moment, yeah. I like it. NXT is still strong. It's always been strong.
Yeah.
And I can't see it ever not being strong. It's certainly better than Raw at the moment.
Yeah.
It's not quite SmackDown. It's not far off.
No.
Not far off.
It's got some big stars in there.
If you go in terms of the actual matches that they put on, NXT UK is awesome as well.
Yeah, I don't really watch too much of that, to be fair.
It's a shame people... they don't talk about it enough for me. It's not mainstream enough, which I kind of guess that's what they want. But if people just sort of like thought, oh, NXT UK, it's not going to be very good. There's some epic matches in NXT UK. But better than anything that I've seen. I know it was a while ago.
It's probably, I don't know, for me with NXT UK, it's that the star powers. I think they released it on the network, and it was a huge deal with the title and the tournament, and and then Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne at NXT Takeover Chicago, I think it was, which was an unbelievable fight, and then. For me, just the star power went in the end. I was there in Texas for NXT Takeover Worlds Collide, and again, but when you look at that, Rhea Ripley, Toni Storm, Mustache Mountain versus DIY, it just the stars that were on it. From NXT UK were the big stars that people knew. Where now, Pete Dunne's on NXT, Toni Storm's on NXT, Walter we seen on NXT the other week, Imperium went off and won the tag titles on NXT. Everything seems to just be moved. It's like, for me, to try and use NXT UK is like the developmental for NXT. It just doesn't have the star power as it should do, because we've been there, we've seen it live.
Yeah,
we've seen 3 shows they recorded. It was unbelievable. The atmosphere was great. Got really into it, but not for me at the moment.
It's essentially an indie show. I understand that, but if you just look at purely on wrestling matches, there's some of the best, and it's not showcased enough. I don't think enough wrestling fans tap into it, and they should. Just pick a
could it be,
match, for example, any Walter match? They're just brilliant.
Do you think the fact that they don't really showcase it on, say, YouTube as much either? So you can go onto YouTube in the UK anyway, Tuesday, and see all the highlights from Raw, every single match, every single promo highlights from it. Same with NXT, same with SmackDown. NXT UK gets the very quick thing. Yeah,
it does. It does, and I think that's a shame. As I say, just for wrestling content alone, it's. I mean, some of the promo stuff. I think I've tried to discuss this before. I think because the English accent, when you get so much of it, it's just cringe when you sort of like spend your time listening to Americans do it. I mean, like you had Wade Barrett and Bulldog and William Regal, the odd Englishman within sort of like the American vocalization of it. That's okay. That's acceptable. I think it works. But when you just listen to so many very different English accents, it's like, this is cringe. You don't like it. But even just as I say, just watch it. Just watch it for wrestling content only, and you'll enjoy it. There you go.
Will do. But I think it's a great way to finish off today. It'd be really interesting to see where they go with Raw and try and make that a lot better, and the fallout from AEW Blood and Guts and stuff. So really interesting week of wrestling. Many more to come. We've got WrestleMania Backlash to come up as well. So it'd be really interesting to see what happens.
Definitely. Cool. Cheers, mate. Enjoyed that one. Thank you very much for watching.
Thanks, mate. I think it's really interesting again to just talk about wrestling. So again, like we said in the first one, just subscribe to the channel. It'll be posted everywhere for everyone to see. And again, comment and see if there's any topics you want us to talk about as well.
And as always, links in the description for Elite Wrestling Community and the Heel Project as well. Cool. Thank you for watching. See you Tuesday for Football Tuesday.
Yeah.
Big week for United.
A tired week for United.
Cool. Thank you, everybody. See you soon.